Honestly, I get a little nervous because it's always, you don't know how he's going to set up the group. Is it going to be random or is it going to be, oh, choose your group? So it's that apprehension. And also, you don't know if your group members will be like pretty productive or would you have to do all the work. So it's definitely some level of apprehension. I'm not like excited to jump into group work. So yeah.
I guess collaborative. I'm I actually like group work a lot because I think that you can get a lot of diverse ideas and perspectives coming together to work on a project.
Diversity, and in that context, identifying the diversity within the group, diversity of experience, diversity of identities, such as your race, your gender, even in the context of Cornell, your major. And I think really understanding, being cognizant of the differences between people can help align the group in a good way and can help people move forward in a productive way instead of just assuming everyone is on the same page, everyone has started on the same plane, which I think is what causes friction in group work.
So I think anytime multiple ideas, like multiple heads come together, it's sort of beneficial to just get like different ideas and sort of different ways to do things and other perspectives.
There's a lot of collaboration when you're working in a group, so you get to meet a lot of different people in your major and other majors depending on the class.
The benefits of group work, especially like in tech, are just that you have like a diversity of opinions available to you, and people like contribute different like skills from like the backgrounds that they study from.
Another great thing about group work is that you get to kind of split up the work a little bit and do different parts of a big project and get other people's input in order to make your work better.
If your group members are very productive, they have high quality, then you kind of have fun doing the group project because you see you're doing good work along with your group members. So if you know your project, your final whatever you're making or creating is going to be like really good, and it just gets me excited to know it's going to be really good work. And then whether it's presenting it or posting it or whatever, you're like proud of that work. So
People bringing in different perspectives and viewing things in a different way.
the purpose of group projects is to have everyone's perspective, everyone's input, and it creates a more diverse product.
Sometimes when you're in a group, there's, some people don't take on as much work as others do, or, they do things without telling the rest of the group. So there's definitely, most of the problems that are in group work come from lack of communication.
It can be hard to like integrate everyone into the group like equally, to make sure everyone's contributing equally, and also like delegating work can be work that's like added to it. Sometimes it's easier to just do things yourself.
Not coming in with an alignment of ideas, or not coming in with feasible goals, both of you coming in with the same goals, I think that can cause a lot of tension.
The most important challenge is probably like social loafing, in that a lot of people, when they hear that they have a group project, if you're like sort of like type A, you get kind of nervous because you know that you're going to do all the work, and if you're type B, you get kind of excited because you know that you don't have to do a lot of the work.
If most of your group members really aren't doing the work, like freshman year, that happened. I had to really organize everyone, and then as a freshman first semester, that was a lot on me. And like with coming from high school, I'm sure for most Cornellians, you have a certain quality of work. So for me, that was really stressful, having to galvanize everyone together. And then I ended up staying up till 2, 3 in the morning trying to make sure, because like the work they had, I wasn't satisfied, so I had to edit a lot and whatever.
There's definitely been some like clash of personalities in the past. Just different like work ethics, I guess, or like ways of working. But nothing that hasn't been resolved.
Yeah, I think that goes with any group that you're working in, that you're going to run into conflict, that people don't do what they're going to say on time, or, that quality of work really isn't up to par with how it should be. I've definitely run into that a lot. I work in groups pretty frequently, but the way to work through that is just to keep an open line of communication.
Well, I guess going back to my freshman, I kind of had to confront some people, and I'm like, this isn't good work. I just took it. I didn't have time because the group project was due in like a day or so, and I was like, I just don't have time for you guys to revise it because I don't know how long that will take. So I had to confront some people, and I had basically had to finish the work myself. And so I think that was the biggest conflict. But there's never been any like yelling or cursing or anything like that. I try to keep it professional.
I just recently had a partner project that I had to do, like, it was like at least like 4 weeks of working with a partner, and the partner like yelled at me a lot, like whenever he felt like I wasn't doing something correctly, and that was like kind of terrible. I've never had that before, even in like high school. Like, you can't necessarily just assume that everybody is going to be able to find somebody like a good partner, and it's kind of like it really, really heavily impacts your grade based on how you work with your partner, and there should be, in my opinion, there should be like safety nets for that, because if you like literally cannot work with your partner, or it's causing you like emotional harm, like in my case, like you shouldn't also have to feel like your grade is impacted by that terrible experience. Like, it's kind of like a double whammy. It's like getting kicked while you're already down, for your grade to suck because your partner was not compatible with you.
I think that multidisciplinary groups are really impactful, and they definitely help students to learn not only more about what the final project is that they're working towards, but also to learn more about different people's disciplines and what they're experts at. Having those kinds of groups really, I think, makes the whole group work process work a little bit smoother. There's usually either two ways that they're formed, is that you come up with your own group, or the professor randomly assigns a group.
Honestly, I think the friend group I least like, because it's like everyone's kind of comfortable. Some people might try to even take advantage of you because they're like, oh, we're cool, so you can have that. So I think that would be the one that I tend to not like that much. The random, so far, randomized have been pretty okay. I think since everyone doesn't know each other, they're not, I don't know, they're just, everyone's trying to be nice to each other. They don't want to take advantage, at least with my experiences. So I tend to like the random, and you get to meet new people, so that's a plus. So
in larger classes, like CS classes, they will have people like self-select. So there's a website called Piazza, where students can like post questions, and then they can also post like a project partner request, and that's how I found my most recent partner, the one that like yelled at me. So I think it's a little bit like flawed, but that's like the nature of how they're finding partners.
Typically, it's teachers assigning people groups. So I'm actually a facilitator for the Intergroup Dialogue Project at Cornell, which means that I facilitate a class of 20-something, maybe 15 to 20 students, and we generally tend to assign groups, and this is me as a student ascribing these groups to students, because you notice patterns and trends within people. People like to homogenize, and so you see all the athletes together, or you see one guy, one girl, they're constantly talking, and you kind of want to split that up because it's not going to be productive. It's going to create third parties that don't feel included. So while I see that it can be a little authoritarian to impose, I've recognized that it's important for people to just sometimes have a different perspective come in and say, I think that you would benefit from having other people in your group.
When the professor chooses the groups based off of like who do you choose, I do tend to notice people of the same race tend to flock together, whether it's mostly white, mostly Asian, mostly black. I feel like maybe it's that level of comfortability, I don't even know if that's the word, comfortability, or everyone's more comfortable around each other with people who look like them.
I think maybe being like openly gay, like sometimes the way that I talk, or the fact that I'm like maybe like more outgoing, people think that I'm like not as smart. I think that like generally speaking, the kids that are like more introverted are treated as if they're like smarter. I don't know why that is, but a lot of girls that I've spoken to in my CS courses have said the same thing. That they're like, they try to talk more, and then people think that they just have no idea what they're talking about.
So I can see two big ways in which my identity and then kind of the contradicting identities of other people. One way is a gender dynamic. So as a woman, I am going to be in a group with both male, female, and any non-binary individuals. And I think that what happens is that men don't understand the kind of the status that they hold in a group. For example, just physical stature can really intimidate other people in the group. And then the second one is in terms of socioeconomic status. I think we don't realize the level of commitments that people hold outside of the group in terms of jobs and work that they have to do. So people who hold 2 jobs at Cornell are not as available to meet in group work, and that can cause a lot of tension because you feel like they're not participating and they're not working for the grade.
I think the process, I think you can learn a lot from working with other people. You know, it's a collaborative world out there, so you gotta figure things out.
I think that the group work process is more important than the final project. You know, a final project can be done in 2 days, but depending on what it is. But the group work throughout the semester or throughout the time period that leads up to that final project in its finality and totality is really what is, I think, the most important of the part of the class, and what the greatest learning experience comes from.
I think they hold equal weight, and I'd like people to emphasize the process of the group work as much as the final project.